Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. Pydantic, Data Validation, Episode 16 of 20. Standard models assume your incoming JSON payload is an object mapped with keys and values. But what happens when an endpoint needs to accept a top-level array directly, or just a standalone string without wrapping it in a dictionary? That is exactly what RootModel, when your payload isn't a dictionary, is built to handle. When you use a standard base model, Pydantic maps your class attributes to JSON keys. If you send a standard model a raw list, like a JSON array of numbers, the validation fails. It expects a dictionary structure. To get around this, developers often force the client to change the payload. They create a dummy key, perhaps called items, and wrap the array in an object. You end up bending your API design just to make your validation library happy. RootModel eliminates that friction. It is a special Pydantic model designed specifically for payloads where the outermost structure is a list, a tuple, or a primitive type like an integer or a string. Consider a bulk delete endpoint. You want the client to send a raw JSON array containing integer user IDs, nothing else. To handle this, you import RootModel from Pydantic. You define a new class, perhaps called UserIDList, and have it inherit from RootModel. You parameterize that inheritance with a list of integers. When the raw JSON array arrives at the server, you pass it directly to the model validate method on your UserIDList class. Pydantic accepts the top-level array natively. It iterates through the payload, ensures every single item is a valid integer, and returns a fully validated model instance. Here is the key insight. Even though it validates a flat list, a RootModel provides the exact same interface as a regular model. You still have access to the standard methods. You can call model dump to convert the data back to Python objects, or model dump JSON to generate a raw string. Because there are no named fields in your payload, you need a way to access the data once it is validated. Pydantic stores the parsed data in a single attribute named exactly root. If you want to loop over those validated user IDs, you simply iterate over the root attribute on your model instance. This mechanism is not restricted to lists. You can define a root model for a single string or an integer. If you receive a standalone string payload but need to run it through strict length checks or pattern matching, defining it as a root model of type string allows you to attach those validation rules natively. The data remains a simple string in the payload, but gains the full protection of the validation engine. Whenever you find yourself inventing a dictionary key just so Pydantic has something to parse, you're using the wrong tool. Use RootModel to adapt your validation layer to your API contract rather than altering your API contract to satisfy your validation layer. Thanks for listening. Take care, everyone.